The galaxy was at peace, or so the Empire thought. Its vast fleet of warships moved without resistance, planets fell into line, and the Emperor's rule stretched further than anyone could imagine. But what the Empire failed to notice was a silent menace creeping through the vastness of space, a threat they believed was far too small to ever challenge them: Earth. For centuries, Earth had been mocked by the Empire. The once proud humans, who had barely escaped their own atmosphere a few hundred years ago, were now seen as insignificant. The Empire's commanders had their eyes on more advanced civilizations, dismissing Earth's progress as nothing more than a nuisance. The Empire had grown overconfident, focused on their endless conquest, and unbothered by the quiet whispers of resistance rising from Earth. Behind the scenes, Earth's most brilliant minds had been working tirelessly. They had not given up on the dream of defending their world. They knew the Empire's eyes were elsewhere, distracted by the grand scale of their own power. It was under this very arrogance that Earth's leaders had begun their secret project. An armada of stealth ships, hidden from the Empire's sophisticated detection systems. Earth's fleet was about to make a move, but not in the way anyone could expect. On Earth, deep beneath the surface of the planet, the final touches were being put on the fleet. Hundreds of ships, armed with advanced technology and invisible to enemy sensors, were ready for deployment. These ships weren't just designed to fight. They were designed to surprise, to strike fear into the heart of the Empire, and to remind them that humanity was not to be underestimated. For years, these ships had remained hidden, waiting for the day they would be called to action. The scientists and engineers who had worked on the project had spent countless hours ensuring that Earth's fleet would remain undetected. Their ships were shielded by technology that bent light and energy around them, making them invisible to even the most powerful of enemy sensors. This was humanity's secret weapon, the thing the Empire never saw coming. The day was drawing near when the first strike would be made. Earth's leaders had decided that the time had come to send a message to the Empire, a message that would shake the Empire to its core. But they needed to be careful. One wrong move, and the entire fleet could be destroyed before it even had a chance to fight back. Stealth was the key. If they were spotted too early, everything would be lost. In the heart of Earth's hidden base, Commander Elias Hunt stood before a massive holographic display. The fleet was in position, ready to take its first step into the vast unknown of space. Hunt, a seasoned officer with years of experience in military strategy, had been chosen to lead this operation. He was calm, composed, but he could not shake the feeling that something had changed. The Empire might be overconfident, but their reach was vast, and their technology was far superior to anything Earth had. Still, Hunt knew one thing for certain: humanity would not back down. "All systems are green," one of the engineers reported. "The fleet is ready for launch, Commander." Hunt nodded slowly. His mind raced with the possibilities. If they succeeded, humanity would prove that they were not just a small, insignificant species in the eyes of the Empire. But if they failed, the cost would be catastrophic. He turned his attention back to the holographic map of space. The Empire's warships were spread across the galaxy, each one more powerful than the last. They were too numerous to count, each carrying an unimaginable amount of firepower. But all of that was irrelevant now. Earth had a different plan. A soft beep interrupted his thoughts, and the voice of a communications officer echoed in his earpiece. "Commander, we've detected something. It's faint, but there's a signal coming from an unknown source." Hunt's heart skipped a beat. This wasn't supposed to happen. The fleet was supposed to be undetectable. His eyes narrowed as he watched the data streaming in. "Can you confirm the source of the signal?" he asked, his voice steady despite the growing unease in his chest. The officer replied quickly, "We're still analyzing it, Commander, but it doesn't match any known patterns. It could be nothing, but we thought you should know." Hunt stood still for a moment, deep in thought. Could the Empire have discovered their fleet? It seemed impossible, but he couldn't ignore the possibility. The Empire had eyes everywhere, and their technology was far more advanced than Earth's. It was possible that they had stumbled upon a new detection method. But then again, it could be a fluke, a simple glitch in the system. Earth had built its fleet in the shadows for a reason, to avoid detection. The last thing the Empire would expect was for humanity to have a fleet of their own, silently waiting for the perfect moment to strike. "Keep an eye on it," Hunt ordered, his mind working quickly. "Report anything unusual immediately." He turned back to the display, watching as Earth's fleet slowly began to make its way toward the edge of the solar system. It was time to move. The stealth ships, hidden in the dark recesses of space, began to power up their engines. The first mission was simple: get close enough to the Empire's ships to send a message. But that message would be more than just a warning. It would be a reminder. A reminder that humanity was still here, still alive, and still capable of fighting for their survival. And the Empire would soon learn that underestimating Earth had been their biggest mistake. As the fleet moved into position, Commander Hunt could only hope that this silent strike would be enough to prove humanity's strength. But even if it wasn't, he knew one thing for sure: Earth would never be the same again. The Empire's miscalculation. The galaxy, vast and silent, seemed untouched by Earth's subtle movements. On the surface, the Empire was confident, unaware of the fleet waiting in the shadows of space. Their commanders were consumed with their own ambitions, the grandeur of their conquests clouding their judgment. They believed Earth was nothing more than a forgotten backwater, a relic of a time when humanity had been little more than an afterthought. But beneath their arrogance, there was a mistake they didn't see coming. While the Empire's leaders reveled in their power, Earth's leaders were preparing for a war that was not only about survival but about sending a message to the galaxy. Earth wasn't just going to sit back and wait to be crushed. They were going to show the Empire that they were not to be underestimated. Commander Elias Hunt paced back and forth in the command center, his eyes scanning the data streams that filled the room. His crew, tense and alert, sat at their stations, working quietly to ensure the fleet's success. They had come so far, but the weight of their mission was heavy. A single mistake could unravel everything they had worked for. On the far side of the solar system, Earth's fleet was moving into position. It was a delicate operation. The stealth ships, cloaked by the most advanced technology Earth had ever developed, were slowly approaching the Empire's forces, careful not to make a sound. Every move, every decision had to be perfect. Hunt's mind kept drifting back to the signal they had detected. A signal so faint, so weak, that it could have easily been dismissed. Yet it was there. The Empire was always watching, always listening, but could they have found Earth's fleet? Was it possible that their enemies had already figured out what humanity was planning? His thoughts were interrupted by a sudden alert on his console. "Commander, we've detected a fleet in the Outer Rim." "It's not Empire standard," said Lieutenant Carter, his voice sharp with alarm. Hunt's eyes snapped to the display. There was something strange about the fleet's trajectory. It was too close to their hidden fleet's path, but not in a way that seemed intentional. It could be nothing. The Empire was a massive entity, and random movements weren't uncommon. But then again, Earth wasn't the only player in the galaxy. There were other factions, other powers that might be aware of the Empire's activities. Could this be an attempt to interfere with their operation? "Bring up the data," Hunt ordered, his voice steady despite the unease gnawing at him. "What are we looking at?" The screen flickered to life, displaying the new fleet's movements. It wasn't much, but the formations seemed odd. It wasn't typical Empire military strategy. The ships looked smaller, but there was something about them, something that felt familiar. Earth's fleet had been designed to be undetectable, but this was something different. "We don't have a clear reading, Commander," said the officer on communications. "There's no identification signal. Could it be a new faction? Something from outside the Empire's reach?" "Possibly," Hunt said, his brow furrowing. "But if the Empire's enemies are already aware of us, that could be a problem." The fleet wasn't supposed to have enemies just yet, The whole idea behind Earth's stealth ships was that they were hidden, silent, undetected. If their presence was already being noticed, it could ruin everything. They had one chance to strike before the Empire realized what was happening. The longer they stayed in the shadows, the more likely they were to be found. "Keep tracking it," Hunt said firmly, trying to keep his voice calm. "We can't afford any surprises right now." The crew went silent as the fleet continued its stealthy advance toward the Empire's warships. The plan was simple: make a quick, precise strike that would cripple the Empire's power before they had a chance to respond. But the unknown fleet on the outer rim was a complication they hadn't anticipated. Hunt's mind raced. If the Empire's sensors picked up even the smallest trace of the fleet, the plan would be ruined. The element of surprise was everything. The last thing they could afford was for anyone to know what was coming. The silence in the command center was deafening as the minutes passed. The unknown fleet lingered at the outer edge of their operations. Earth's stealth fleet remained hidden, but tension was growing. If they made it through without being detected, the first strike would begin. "Commander, we're approaching the target," reported Lieutenant Carter. "We're still undetected." Hunt nodded but didn't feel the relief he expected. Something was wrong. The other fleet's movements were still bothering him, but they couldn't waste any more time. The mission had to continue. "Prepare for deployment," Hunt ordered, his voice tight. Keep an eye on that fleet. I want constant updates." As the fleet approached its target, the tension only grew. This was the moment. Earth had prepared for this for years, and now the time had come to strike. But with the unknown fleet still lurking nearby, they couldn't afford to be careless. The plan was in motion, and the future of Earth's defense rested in the hands of the men and women who had worked so hard to bring it to this point. But if the Empire had made one fatal mistake, humanity would make sure it would be the last one they ever made. The Empire strikes back. As Earth's stealth fleet moved closer to the heart of the Empire's operations, the tension aboard their ships reached a breaking point. Commander Elias Hunt could feel it in the air, the weight of their mission pressing down on everyone. The entire future of Earth was riding on this one strike, and yet something about the unknown fleet's presence still nagged at him. There was a lingering feeling, one that he couldn't shake, that their operation was far from as secure as they had believed. A sudden alarm blared throughout the ship, snapping Hunt out of his thoughts. His heart skipped a beat as the red lights flashed in the command center. "Report," Hunt barked, standing up quickly. "Sir, we've detected movement from the Empire's fleet. They're mobilizing," said Lieutenant Carter, his voice urgent. "We think they've discovered us." The room fell silent. The tension was palpable. For years, Earth had been preparing for this moment. Their fleet, invisible and silent, had been designed to make the first strike against the Empire. But if the Empire had already detected them, their entire operation could be in jeopardy. Hunt's mind raced. He had always known there was a risk of detection, but he had trusted their technology. The stealth ships were the best Earth had ever produced, capable of hiding even from the most advanced sensors. If the Empire had discovered them, it could only mean one thing: their enemies were far more capable than they had realized. "Commander, we've lost the stealth cover," reported another officer, panic creeping into his voice. "It's like they knew we were here all along." Hunt clenched his fists. This was the worst-case scenario. The Empire had made a critical mistake, underestimating Earth's technological advances, and now they were paying the price. But the real danger wasn't just the Empire. It was the unknown fleet, still hanging at the edge of their operations, ready to strike at any moment. "Steady," Hunt said, trying to keep his composure. "We need to adjust the plan. If the Empire is aware of us, we need to hit them hard, hit them fast. We can't wait any longer." The crew quickly moved into action. The warships that Earth had prepared for this moment were now fully visible to the Empire. The stealth systems were useless, and it was clear that the element of surprise had been lost. But humanity's fleet had one thing the Empire didn't: determination. They would not go down without a fight. "Deploy all ships," Hunt ordered. "We're going in." As the fleet moved into position, Hunt couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. His instincts were on high alert, and the more he thought about the unknown fleet, the more it bothered him. What if the Empire wasn't the only threat? What if the other fleet had been waiting for this moment, waiting for Earth's plan to unfold so they could strike when they least expected it? "Commander, we got a new signal," Lieutenant Carter said. "It's coming from the outer rim." It's not the Empire's fleet. It's the unknown fleet. Hunt's blood ran cold. They had been expecting the Empire's response. But this was something else entirely. "Shut down all non-essential systems," Hunt ordered, his voice low. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers. We're not fighting just one enemy anymore." The unknown fleet had been hiding in plain sight, watching, waiting. And now, they were closing in on Earth's fleet with terrifying speed. Hunt had always known that the galactic balance was fragile, but this was something different. It wasn't just the Empire that had underestimated Earth. They had all underestimated humanity's resilience, and now the galaxy was about to learn what that really meant. As the fleets began to converge, the stakes couldn't have been higher. On one side, the Empire, vast and unyielding, with its seemingly endless resources. On the other side, Earth's hidden fleet, armed with advanced technology and fueled by the desire for survival. And in the shadows, the unknown fleet, with its own motivations and its own agenda. Hunt watched as the first wave of Empire ships moved into their attack position. The sound of weapons powering up filled the command center, and for a moment, time seemed to stand still. Everything they had worked for, everything they had sacrificed, was coming to a head. "Prepare to engage," Hunt said, his voice cold and steady. "We fight for Earth." The crew nodded in unison, their faces set with determination. The battle for Earth had begun, and there was no turning back. Outside the ship, the stars seemed to fade as the two fleets approached one another. The quiet void of space would soon be filled with the sounds of war, the echo of weapons discharging, and the knowledge that this battle would change the course of history. But no one could have predicted how things would unfold. The unknown fleet was still out there, waiting. And as the first shots were fired, the crew of Earth's fleet couldn't help but wonder, who were they really fighting? And what did this all mean for the future of the galaxy? The unseen enemy. The battle in the cold vacuum of space was like nothing the crew had ever experienced. As the Empire's fleet advanced, Earth's ships fired their weapons, lighting up the darkness with bright flashes of laser beams and missiles. But amidst the chaos, Commander Elias Hunt could feel a deeper unease gnawing at him. The Empire's fleet was massive, but Earth's ships had been carefully prepared, each one armed with the latest stealth technology and devastating weapons. Still, something didn't sit right. Hunt glanced around the command center, his eyes narrowing. "Sir, the Empire's fleet is much larger than anticipated," reported Lieutenant Carter, his voice tense. "We're holding our own, but the numbers—" "I know," Hunt interrupted, his eyes fixed on the holographic display showing the positions of the ships. "We can't let them surround us. Take evasive action. Focus on the weak points in their formation." But as the fleet engaged, a strange shift happened. The Empire's ships seemed to falter, as though something unexpected was interfering with their movements. It wasn't just Earth's attack, there was something else. Hunt couldn't shake the feeling that there was another hand at play. "Commander," Lieutenant Carter spoke again, his voice uncertain. "We're receiving strange signals from the outer rim. They're not Empire transmissions. It's like someone else is jamming our communications." Hunt's heart raced. A jamming signal in the middle of such a critical battle. It couldn't be a coincidence. The unknown fleet, the one they had been tracking for weeks, wasn't just watching anymore. They had made their move. "Deploy secondary sensors," Hunt ordered. "Focus on that signal. I want to know who's out there." A few tense moments passed before another officer spoke up. Sir, we've got visual confirmation. It's them, the unknown fleet. They've decloaked. They're here. The dark shadows of the unknown fleet began to appear on the edges of the battlefield, their ships sleek and almost ghost-like, moving through space like predators closing in on their prey. The crew's faces paled as they saw the enemy's advanced technology, ships far superior to anything the Empire had, or so it seemed. The Empire, meanwhile, seemed to be recovering from the initial shock of the battle. The unknown fleet had disrupted their attack plans, but now they were regrouping. They knew they were outnumbered, but they also knew that their only hope of survival was to push forward. "Get us out of here," Hunt barked, his mind working at lightning speed. Earth's ships were outmatched in numbers, and now they were caught between two massive fleets. The unknown fleet was clearly here for more than just a fight with the Empire. They had their own agenda, and Earth was caught in the middle. "Commander," Carter said, his voice strained, "we can't escape. The unknown fleet has us cornered. We need to either fight or—" "Fight it is, then," Hunt said, cutting him off. "Activate the cloaking devices. We'll use the shadows to our advantage." The tension was thick as Hunt made his decision. It wasn't just about surviving anymore. It was about proving that humanity was more than just a fledgling species. They would stand and fight, even against impossible odds. As the crew scrambled to implement the orders, the unknown fleet continued to close in. Their weapons powered up, and the silence of space was broken by the hum of energy charging. Just then, another officer called out, "Sir, a transmission. It's coming from the unknown fleet." Hunt's eyes narrowed. A transmission from the enemy. What could they possibly want to say? The message came through, loud and clear. "Earth, you are not our target. Yet." The words hit like a slap to the face. Hunt's confusion deepened, and the entire room fell silent. The unknown fleet wasn't here to destroy Earth, or at least, that's what they claimed. But if that was the case, then why were they here? "Sir, what do we do?" Carter asked, uncertainty in his voice. Hunt's mind raced. This was an opportunity, one that Earth couldn't afford to miss. The unknown fleet was not an immediate threat. At least, not in the way the Empire was. But what were they after? And why had they waited so long to reveal themselves? "We take the fight to the Empire," Hunt said firmly. "The unknown fleet has given us a window. We move fast. We strike hard." As the crew worked together to launch another wave of attacks, Hunt couldn't help but feel the weight of the moment. For the first time, they weren't just fighting for survival. They were fighting for control of their future, a future that depended on whether they could hold their ground against the Empire. And now, the unknown fleet that had entered the fray. The battle raged on, and Commander Elias Hunt's instincts told him that the true war had only just begun. The unknown fleet had spoken, but their true intentions were still a mystery. Earth's fight was far from over, and Hunt knew that the galaxy was about to see humanity in a way it never had before. The rising storm. Commander Elias Hunt stood in front of the holographic display, his mind racing. The unknown fleet had made their presence known, and Earth's stealth ships were facing a dilemma. Should they trust the strange fleet that had seemingly spared them for now, or was it all part of a bigger plan to destroy humanity? "Sir, we've received another transmission," Lieutenant Carter said, breaking the silence. "It's from the Empire. They're furious. They want us to surrender." "Fat chance," Hunt muttered under his breath. The Empire had never been known for their mercy. The fact that they were still holding on to their arrogance despite the unexpected turn of events only made Hunt more determined. They were in for a fight, and not just with the Empire. "Prepare the fleet," Hunt ordered. "We move forward with the mission. We can't waste this opportunity." The fleet was already in motion, their cloaking devices activated as they crept toward the Empire's vulnerable rear. The unknown fleet, still a mystery, hovered at the edges of the battle like silent spectators. They were watching, waiting, just as Hunt had expected. His thoughts were interrupted by a sudden commotion in the command center. One of the junior officers turned to him, a look of shock on her face. "Commander, the unknown fleet is moving. They're advancing towards the Empire's flagship." "Are they attacking?" Hunt demanded, his eyes narrowing. "No, sir. They're positioning themselves between us and the Empire. It's like they're drawing a line in the sand." Hunt's heart skipped a beat. The unknown fleet was not just here to watch. They were making their move. But what did it mean? Was it an alliance? Or a warning? They still had no answers. Hunt turned to face the tactical display once more. "Get me a direct line to their flagship," Hunt ordered. If there was any chance to understand the mysterious fleet's intentions, now was the time. A tense silence followed as the communications officer worked furiously at his station. Finally, he looked up. "We've got a signal. It's coming through." The message was short and cryptic, but it sent a chill down Hunt's spine. "You are being watched. We are not your enemies, but we are not your friends either. Proceed with caution." The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving the room in stunned silence. The unknown fleet was speaking in riddles. What did they mean by being watched? And who was watching? "Commander," Carter said, his voice trembling slightly. "What does it mean? Who's watching us?" "I don't know," Hunt replied, his mind spinning. "But one thing's for sure. The galaxy is changing and humanity is at the center of it all. The Empire is watching. The unknown fleet is watching. And we can't afford to make a mistake." Hunt turned to his fleet. They were on the cusp of something bigger than any of them could understand. The Empire had underestimated Earth, but that was only the beginning. The unknown fleet had no love for humanity. At least, not yet. But in the blink of an eye, things could change. "All ships, stay on high alert," Hunt ordered. "We may have a chance to strike, but we need to be ready for anything. No one can be trusted." The unknown fleet had made its move, positioning itself as a barrier between Earth and the Empire. It was clear they were powerful, far beyond anything Earth had encountered. But their motives remained unclear. Were they allies, or was this just another part of their strategy? The tension in the command center was palpable as Hunt tried to anticipate the next move. They had no idea what the unknown fleet was planning, but they knew one thing. They couldn't afford to sit back and wait for answers. Earth's stealth fleet was prepared for war, but the stakes had just risen higher than anyone could have predicted. "Sir," Carter spoke again, his voice urgent, "the Empire is reacting. They're not just retreating. They're preparing to launch a full-scale offensive." Hunt's eyes narrowed. He had expected this. The Empire had nothing left to lose. But now, with the unknown fleet standing between them, it was clear that this was more than just a battle for survival. The unknown fleet's presence had tipped the scales, and Earth's future was now in their hands. Would they help or hinder humanity's fight? Hunt didn't know. But one thing was certain. This was the beginning of a new war, one that would change everything. "Prepare for the worst," Hunt said grimly. "We fight for our survival. And we fight for control of our future." As the fleet readied itself, Hunt couldn't shake the feeling that the true test was just beginning. The Empire may have been Earth's biggest enemy, but the unknown fleet, with its advanced technology and hidden motives, might prove to be even more dangerous. The storm was coming. The question was, who would survive it? The tipping point. The sound of alarms echoed throughout the command center as the tension grew unbearable. Commander Elias Hunt stood before the massive holographic display, his eyes scanning the shifting fleet positions. The Empire's forces had begun their counterattack, a relentless wave of ships closing in on Earth's stealth fleet. The unknown fleet, positioned between the Empire and Earth's forces, remained still, silent, and unmoving, like a dark shadow on the battlefield. "Commander," Lieutenant Carter's voice was tense. "The Empire is making their move. They've deployed their entire fleet. Hunt gritted his teeth. The Empire wasn't going to go down without a fight. And their attack wasn't just directed at Earth's fleet. It was clear they were determined to crush anything in their way, including the mysterious fleet that had intervened. "We need to make a decision," Hunt said, turning to face his senior officers. "Do we hold our position or push forward and try to break through? We can't afford to let them regroup. And the unknown fleet, are they allies, or are they setting us up for a trap?" The officers exchanged uneasy glances. No one had an answer. The unknown fleet's intentions were still a mystery, and their sudden appearance on the battlefield made everything unpredictable. "We don't have the luxury of time," Carter said after a long pause. "The Empire is closing in fast. If we don't act now, they'll trap us." Hunt nodded. He knew they couldn't wait any longer. The unknown fleet had given them a chance, an unexpected break. But Earth's forces were now on the verge of being outmatched. If they didn't take action, they risked everything. "Prepare to engage," Hunt ordered. "But we'll be ready for anything. All ships, keep your sensors on that unknown fleet. They may have their own agenda, but if we're going down, we'll go down fighting." As the stealth fleet moved forward, slipping through the shadows, Hunt's eyes darted to the unknown fleet. They hadn't moved yet. Were they just waiting for the right moment, or was their silence a sign of something darker? Hunt had seen how powerful the Empire was. If the unknown fleet turned on Earth now, it could be the end of everything. The calm before the storm was unbearable. Hunt's mind raced as he thought about the stakes. The unknown fleet had shown no sign of aggression, but their presence on the battlefield felt like a ticking time bomb. What was their goal? What was their true purpose? "Sir, we're getting a transmission from the unknown fleet," Carter called out. It's encrypted. I'm trying to decode it." Hunt's heart skipped a beat. They hadn't received a single message from the fleet since their initial cryptic transmission. Every instinct in him told him to be cautious, but he also knew they couldn't ignore any advantage they might have. "Patch it through," Hunt said, his voice low with anticipation. The transmission crackled as it came through, the voice on the other end calm yet ominous. "We've been watching you, Commander Hunt," the voice said, its tone neutral but filled with underlying power. "The galaxy has its eyes on Earth. The Empire is not your only enemy. Beware what you awaken." Hunt felt a chill run down his spine. The message was vague, but it carried weight. Who were they really dealing with? Were they still in the dark about the true enemy? Or had the unknown fleet been testing them all along? "Understood," Hunt replied cautiously. "What do you want from us?" There was a long pause, and for a moment, Hunt wondered if the transmission had been cut off. Then the voice returned, colder than before. "Humanity's actions will determine its fate," the voice said. "You may think you're in control, but you are not. The future of Earth lies not in the hands of one species, but in the balance of all." And then, without another word, the transmission ended. The command center was silent. Hunt stood motionless, the weight of the words pressing heavily on his chest. What had the unknown fleet meant by that? Humanity's actions will determine its fate. What did that mean for the battle ahead? The Empire's fleet was drawing closer now, and Hunt knew that time was running out. But the unknown fleet's message lingered in his mind. He couldn't shake the feeling that Earth's struggle wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about something much bigger. "All ships, prepare for battle," Hunt commanded, forcing himself to focus. "But stay sharp. The unknown fleet's warning isn't one to ignore. We may be fighting more than just the Empire today." As Earth's stealth fleet moved to intercept the Empire's forces, Hunt couldn't help but wonder about the unknown fleet's true motivations. Were they here to help, or was this all just the beginning of something far more dangerous? The battle ahead would determine Earth's fate, but would it also trigger a greater conflict, one that could engulf the galaxy? Only time would tell. The unseen hand. The battle raged on. Earth's stealth fleet moved like shadows in the void of space, slipping through the gaps between enemy ships, striking swiftly before disappearing once again. The Empire's forces were vast, but the humans had the element of surprise, an advantage they had never before possessed. Yet despite their success in skirmishes, the weight of the unknown fleet's cryptic warning hung over them. What did it all mean? Commander Hunt stood before the holographic display, his eyes scanning the shifting tactics of both fleets. The Empire's ships were regrouping, their formations tightening. They knew Earth's fleet was capable of striking unpredictably, and they had learned to adapt quickly. But Hunt knew they could only hold them off for so long. They needed an edge, something more than just stealth. "Report, Carter," Hunt said, his voice steady but urgent. "Sir, the Empire is adjusting their tactics," Carter replied. "They're anticipating our movements now. We can't keep this up much longer." Hunt clenched his fists. The Empire had been ruthless, relentless, and now they had begun to fight smart. They were on the verge of turning the tide back in their favor, but they hadn't accounted for the one thing that could shift everything once more. The unknown fleet. "We can't keep dodging them forever," Hunt muttered to himself, staring at the ghostly formations of the enemy. "We need to take them out now." But just as Hunt was about to issue the command to push forward, a deep rumble shook the command center. A cold chill washed over everyone as the screens flickered to life with an unfamiliar image. A massive, cloaked warship slowly moving into position. Its size dwarfed everything around it. It wasn't just a ship, it was a fortress in space, the likes of which humanity had never seen. "It's them," Carter said, her voice barely above a whisper. The unknown fleet had arrived. Hunt's heart raced. He had expected some sort of intervention from them. But this was unlike anything they had prepared for. The sheer power of the warship was enough to make even the might of the Empire seem insignificant. The ship's hull shimmered, almost invisible against the backdrop of space, but the intensity of its presence was undeniable. "What are they doing?" Hunt asked, the uncertainty creeping into his voice. The massive warship moved slowly, almost methodically, into position, as if it were waiting for something or someone. It didn't engage. Instead, it hovered ominously at the edge of the battlefield, watching, observing. Then, a new transmission came through. The voice was the same as before, calm, cryptic, but now tinged with an even greater sense of finality. "Commander Hunt," the voice intoned, "the time for hiding is over. You will now face the true enemy. We have given you the means to fight, but what you do with it will decide your future." The transmission cut off abruptly. No further explanation. No guidance. Just silence. Hunt stood frozen, a chill running down his spine. The unknown fleet had given them weapons, tactics, and an unexpected chance to fight back. But now, they had brought something even more powerful to the table, a warship capable of altering the course of the battle in a single strike. And the message was clear. Earth wasn't just fighting the Empire anymore. There was something far greater, far more dangerous, lurking in the shadows. "Sir, the Empire's fleet is breaking through," Carter called out, her voice tense with urgency. "We can't hold them off much longer." Hunt snapped back to reality. The moment had arrived. The Empire was on the brink of victory, but they had no idea what was about to hit them. "Open fire," Hunt commanded. "All ships, prepare to launch everything we've got. Focus everything on that warship." The stealth fleet surged forward, as Earth's ships made their final strike against the Empire's forces. But all eyes were on the colossal warship now positioned at the edge of the battle, ready to turn the tide in one overwhelming attack. The unknown fleet had intervened, but what was their endgame? What was their true plan? The massive warship opened fire, and the very fabric of space seemed to tremble. The sheer destructive force of its weapons was unlike anything the Empire had ever unleashed. In an instant, the Empire's command ship was obliterated, its fleet thrown into chaos. The tide of battle shifted, and for the first time, the humans felt they were in control. But then, the unexpected happened. The warship didn't stop. Instead, it turned its sights on the human fleet, its weapons charging once more. "Wait," Hunt shouted, his heart sinking. "They're not finished with us yet." In the blink of an eye, the Empire's once dominant fleet was shattered, their lines broken. But now, the real battle began. The unknown fleet's warship had proven its power, but at what cost? Earth's fleet had fought back with everything they had, and now they stood on the precipice of something far more dangerous than they had ever imagined. The war was not over. The true enemy had yet to reveal itself, and in the darkness of space, the unseen hand continued to move.